on. Good morning. Oh, my battery's about to go. But it's time for my good morning message, which consists of only my daily vlog. That's all it is. That's all it is. That's not a word. What? Good morning. Today is a Wednesday. And I am tired. It's 7:30 and I need coffee. I need coffee and a banana. Yeah, so I'm up early again. I'm getting really good at this getting up early thing, and I'm getting up early. I'm getting work done and being really productive, and honestly it is the best thing for my mental health than medication at the moment. I have never felt so good about everything, and I'm still not getting everything done. So how I did it, like, it's ridiculous. But I'm feeling amazing. I'm feeling so good about the fact that I'm just getting up. I have a lot of work to do today. I want to finish off Patreon in its entirety, if that is possible. I went to go and finish editing Barista last night, and I'm getting too much of a perfectionist. I was like, I can make it better. Because I was reading some of the stuff I'd added, and without being big-headed, because I'm never usually like that proud of my own work, I was like, I'm proud of this. Like, I actually think this is some of the, it's not the best story I've ever written, but I think it's some of the best writing I've ever done. And I was like, I can work on this. Like, I'm really happy with some of the sentences. I'm really happy with some of the structure. It can be better. So I'm gonna have just a little play with it today, and then have it proofread again tonight, and then send it off. And I'm sending it off to a new printers, so that's also a learning curve, because I'll leave that in a sec. I'm learning how to send off new files in a new way. I'm hoping that the measurements are right. I'm having to blind guess the paper thickness compared to the paper thickness I usually have, but it's a British printers. Although saying that, I think my other books were printed in Britain anyway, but I think it was an international, that was like an international publisher as well. This one is purely self-printed, but that's fine, and all I need when it's the limited edition ones, because I don't need anyone to be selling it for me. I don't need anyone to be posting it on Amazon or posting it, etc. So it's a lot cheaper because of that. I wouldn't say a lot cheaper, but as an example, I think Take My Life cost me 500 quid to print. If I was doing 250 issues again, which I'm not because I can't afford that, I think it would cost me like 300. So it's a big saving. It's just, it's still a lot of money. But I think the Barista, unfortunately, I can't afford a lot. But the way I'm looking at it is I started off with 250 because I was like, if I sold 250 every month, I could live off that. I think that'd be a wage. But obviously that didn't happen, and that's okay. Oh, my laptop's downstairs. And that's okay, because I've still got them books to sell. They will eventually sell. I only had 300 issues of Peekaboo, and that didn't sell straight away, and that's a full-on novel. I'm not well known for my writing yet. So what I think I'm gonna have to do, just because I just don't have that kind of money anymore, like I just don't have them finances, like, oh, wait there, sorry. When I was working in Level Up, I didn't have the money either, but I was just using like the rent money to pay for it, and then obviously just paying the rent late, etc. So I always had money to borrow, to pay, like I was always borrowing from Peter to pay Paul, but now I don't have any money like that. I just have nothing. So I think I'm gonna get 100 issues printed, but then as soon as it gets very consistent, like if it gets to the point where 100 sell straight away, because bear in mind, like 21, a good chunk, I might not be 31, but a good chunk, between 50 and 20 every month are automatically allocated towards Patreon. So even if I'm doing 100 issues a month, there's a good chunk of them already allocated. So I'm gonna do it, I think I'm only gonna do 100 a month, 100 per book at the moment. But when 100 definitely sells straight away, I'm gonna keep working my way up to, I think 250. I think 250 was the goal to sell every month. It's not impossible, it's just, you know, I'm not there yet, and that's okay, that's fine. Where I am now though is doing uni work. I need to do a lot of uni work. I've got a tutorial tonight. It's an online one though. But can't be bothered. I really want to tidy the office today. I also need to reply to my prison pen pal, which I actually realised the other day when I was editing that vlog, but I was in a rush, so I didn't have time to film an outro or explain anything. I don't think I really explained why I have a prison pen pal. So, I have a prison pen pal because, one, my sister Safi wrote me a letter explaining that she's now married to her prison pen pal. I didn't know she had a pen pal, but then all of a sudden, almost out of nowhere, she was like, I'm married on Facebook, and when I asked her questions, and she bought my book, and I wrote her a letter, and she wrote me back explaining, oh, I had a prison pen pal, and now I've married him. I was flabbergasted, but there was something very compelling that I had to go and investigate this. I don't know what it was. I honestly don't know what it was, because it wasn't romantic. I didn't go there for romantic reasons. I didn't go, oh, no one will marry me on the outside kind of thing. It wasn't that. But I think it was just pure morbid curiosity. I just recently been binge watching prison documentaries, and like I just watched 6 seasons of Deadly Women. I think I just had to like see the website. As an example, I watched a documentary on gold diggers once, and then had to sign up to a website called sugardaddy.com. Never met anyone, barely talked to anyone, because I wasn't there to actively try and meet someone, but I had to check it out. I get these compulsive obsessions sometimes, and I have to carry them out. And I'm sure that's what I say when I'm in court for an obvious crime. I'm like, I had this compulsive need to do it. And so I went on there and I went to go check, and there was loads of statistics and facts about like how people are so lonely, and if they get letters, it means the world to them, and they're actually less likely to commit another crime. And I was like, this seems like a really good thing to do. But then I fell down the biggest rabbit hole you've ever seen. On the website I found, you can check their crime, because I don't want to sound judgy, but I didn't feel comfortable writing to people with certain crimes. I didn't feel comfortable if someone had raped someone. I didn't feel comfortable if someone had killed someone. If I did write to someone, I was hoping to be a positive influence on their life. And I guess, I don't want to say, well, they don't deserve it, but I wasn't comfortable messaging people with those kind of crimes. So I became obsessed with reading everyone's crime. And then, oh God, I became obsessed with like death row inmates, because like most of them you could research what the actual crime was, because on the website it'll just say murder, but you could find out what actually happened in that murder. And that was incredible. Like, that was really interesting. And I don't know if it's the criminal psychologist that I love, like that's come out of me, that I love that, like where I've always, because I wanted to be a criminal profiler when I was younger. I wanted to be a million things. It just consumed me for a point, I won't lie. Like, I was obsessed with researching all these inmates, and I wanted to write to some, and I wanted to do good, and that's just kind of the thing that pushed me forward. And then there was one inmate in particular, like I messaged a couple, but there was this one inmate in particular that made me laugh when I was reading their profile. Their particular crime hadn't hurt anyone, they hadn't done much bad and they genuinely made me laugh, and I was like, I actually think I would get on with that prisoner. As weird as it sounds, like that's just, I know that's such an uncommon sentence to say. And I wrote to a couple, but one of them that I heard from was the one that I was like, we will get on. He's very funny. The only thing we've really talked about is Marvel and DC films, really, and Game of Thrones, because this is the other thing I fell down the rabbit hole with. I have watched so many prison pen pal YouTube videos, because I've been watching all these YouTube channels of people who were in prison talking about pen pal relationships or friendships, and it's so across the board. It's like, so many they use it for a scam, which is a heartbreaking idea, or they genuinely love and need and appreciate the letters. It's one or the other. There's no one who's like, well, I'm not going to use it as a scam, but I also don't care if I get letters. It's either like, I need the letters to help me get through the day, or I need the letters to help me scam you. It's one or the other. So I don't plan to be sending any money or anything like that. Don't worry, I don't need these comments being like, don't send the money, be careful. I just think it's really interesting, and I am being careful, and as you can see, I've very much researched it all. But I just like it. I feel like I'm doing a bit of good, and I like that. Do you remember I used to do like a good deed every day? And I still try and do good deeds. I just don't film them anymore because I don't want them to seem like I'm trying to glorify something we should just all be doing. Because at least one good thing about filming one good deed per day, it was actually something that made me very conscious about what I was doing. I consciously used to think about a good deed. I would, you know, actively try and be good, better. I'd try and be a better person, and not for the glory of it, because not one really ever commented on it like, oh my god, you're such a good person, but to put it out there to feel like, oh, I have to show the good deed I've done today, you know, made me feel better. So I have just finished my chapter on the Dalai Lama, and I'm doing my online quiz about divas and the Dalai Lama, because it's all about reputations in this part of the module. And I'm just doing my online quiz, and I don't know anything. This may sound crazy. Tell me if I sound crazy. Don't answer that. I know I do. But so I've just finished book 1 of the first module, and now I'm on to book 2. So we're moving on from reputations to tradition and descent. Most people would be happy to be like, yay, shiny new book. I'm gutted because I just broke in the first book. Like when I open a page, it would stay open really nicely, and I hate this. Also, one of my biggest problems with learning to study is sometimes I can be a really good reader, although very slow, or a completely distracted reader, and that's it. And it's very hard for me to train myself to read again. I know that sounds weird, but unless I'm reading a comic which I really enjoy, or a history book I'm really interested in, sometimes I'm not interested in the history subject I have to learn. So it is difficult to sit down and force myself to read. And I know that since I've had a smartphone, my attention span has completely and utterly plummeted. I nearly lost track of what I was saying just then in that one sentence. So sometimes it can take a really long time for me to read my uni work, and it really stresses me out. I've just discovered something that I am so happy with, I could cry. So first off, I've just discovered that they have, well, I knew this already, but I didn't realise how good it was, is that they have an app where it has all of my first module's information, from the DVDs to the books, to the illustration books, to the audio files, which is incredible. And then, so I can look at it on iBooks. Apple, I'm sure all technology does, but I've specifically found it on Apple because I've got an iPad. Apple have this thing that allows you to play whatever's on the screen, or read out whatever's on the screen.
In Europe. Book 2, Tradition and Descent. Introduction. Carolyn Price. The first book of the arts past and present adopted the theme of reputations, focusing on particular individual.
And it's amazing. Like, obviously it doesn't sound incredible, but just hearing it as I read along has made it so much more manageable, and it keeps me focused. It keeps me from drifting off. I honestly can be reading a page and just be thinking about something else, and I just don't take anything in, and then I'm like, I've just read a page and I've wasted 10 minutes of my time. I'm so happy. So happy. Okay, before you say anything, it is not lost on me that the last video uploaded was the anticlimactic return to daily vlogs, and then 2 weeks later there are no vlogs. I am very sorry. I am really sorry. The only excuse I have, and it's not an excuse, but the only reason, is because Alex was off work for 2 weeks, and although she never ever stops me from working, it's really hard to get all the work I need done when she's just suffocating the life out of me. But also as well, the first week of that half term that she was off, we went to EGX, we went to London, so I wasn't able to really edit my videos then. Then I was part of a writing competition where I got through to the second round, which I wasn't prepared for, so I had 72 hours to write a book, or a short story, which I was really excited about, and that's been entered. And then just the next week, I have been smashing Game of Thrones because I wanted to watch every single season before season 8 came out. So I'm sure you can understand that, right? Right, you get it. But I'm back now and I'm going to be catching up with all the vlogs, and I hope you can understand why I took time off. You know, video game conventions and Game of Thrones. I think that should be allowed. I think we should let me off. But like I've just told you, you've got a lot of good vlogs coming up, not just me sitting at my desk every single day, which, you know, will be inevitably what happens again, but you have some good videos coming up. Thank you for sticking around, even though I didn't need the holiday, but I took it. Thank you for sticking around, even though I selfishly took that time off. But I'm back now, for at least this video. Let's all bet when the next video will be uploaded. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.